The rain had been falling steadily since late afternoon, tapping a restless rhythm against the windows of the two-story house at the end of Willow Lane. Michael had been pacing around the kitchen, waiting for the storm to either pass or break wide open. It was the kind of storm that made you uneasy, the air too heavy, the sky too dark, and the silence between the thunderclaps almost more nerve-wracking than the booming crashes themselves. He had just started to pull a pot from the cabinet when the lights flickered once, twice, and then blinked out entirely. The house sank into a deep darkness, broken only by the occasional flash of lightning spilling through the curtains. Michael cursed under his breath, fumbling with the cabinet handle and nearly dropping the pot in surprise. The sound of rain and the low groaning of tree branches outside filled the silence that had followed the power outage. He felt around in the familiar drawer near the fridge for a flashlight but found only the clatter of utensils. His hand brushed over scissors, a wooden spoon, and an old can opener. No flashlight. That was when he felt it. A sudden presence just behind him, too close, too silent. In the pitch-black kitchen, his body jolted in instinctive alarm, elbow catching the edge of the counter as he spun slightly, heart hammering. "Jake," he blurted, a little too loud, the name of his stepson cutting through the dark. There was a pause, then a sheepish voice. "Sorry, I didn't mean to sneak up on you. I didn't know you'd scare that easy." Michael exhaled sharply, leaning back against the counter. "You didn't scare me," he said automatically, though the tightness in his chest betrayed him. "I just didn't hear you come in." Another flash of lightning lit the kitchen for a split second, and Michael caught a glimpse of Jake's face. His stepson was 13 now, tall for his age, with messy brown hair that never seemed to stay flat no matter how often his mother told him to comb it. His eyes looked bigger in the flicker of light, edged with the nervousness he tried so hard to hide. "I hate storms," Jake admitted softly. "Especially when the power goes out. It's like, the house feels different. Like it's not even the same place." Michael felt something tug inside him, the kind of recognition you only get when someone voices a thought you hadn't realized you shared. He'd grown up hating storms too. Not the thunder, not even the rain, but the way it made everything feel unstable, as if the world outside had too much control. "It's okay," Michael said after a moment, finally digging out the small flashlight he'd been searching for. The cone of light sprang to life, weak but steady, cutting across the shadows of the kitchen. "See? Nothing to be afraid of. Just a storm, that's all." Jake edged a little closer anyway. Michael caught the movement in the corner of his eye but didn't comment. It wasn't exactly cool for a teenager to admit he wanted to stand near his stepdad during a storm, but the unspoken truth of it warmed Michael's chest more than he'd admit. They began searching together for candles. The flashlight beam swept over cabinets and drawers, highlighting little details of their daily life that usually went unnoticed. A forgotten grocery list stuck under a magnet, a baseball glove tossed on the counter, the faint scratches in the kitchen table where homework had been scrawled a little too hard with a pencil. The storm groaned outside, rattling the house. At one point a branch slammed against the siding, and Jake jumped back instinctively, bumping into Michael's side. The contact was clumsy, accidental, and immediately followed by Jake mumbling, "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "It's fine," Michael cut in gently. He steadied the flashlight and gestured toward the cupboard. "Check in there. I think your mom keeps candles up on the top shelf." Jake stretched on his toes, retrieving a dusty box of half-melted candles. When they finally lit the first one, the kitchen filled with a soft golden glow that felt like warmth itself, pushing back the uneasy dark. They set more candles on the counter, one on the table, one on the windowsill. The flickering light softened Jake's tense shoulders, and for the first time since the power had gone out, Michael saw him breathe easier. "Better," Jake said simply, and Michael nodded. The minutes stretched into hours. With the storm refusing to let up, they found themselves lingering in the kitchen, talking more than usual. Jake told him about a science project he'd been working on, and Michael listened, offering the kind of encouragement he wished someone had given him at that age. The words came easier in the candlelight, in the absence of screens and buzzing appliances, as if the outage had stripped away some invisible barrier. At one point, Jake's voice wavered when thunder cracked directly overhead. His chair scraped as he shifted closer, almost without thinking, toward Michael. The accidental bump from earlier replayed in Michael's mind, but this time he didn't startle. He just let the closeness be what it was, a boy reaching for comfort in the middle of a storm. Michael told him stories then about his own childhood storms, about camping trips where the tent had nearly blown away, about how he used to count seconds between lightning and thunder to measure distance. Jake listened, wide-eyed, sometimes smiling, sometimes serious. The night wore on, and as the storm raged outside, something else softened inside. The closeness, accidental at first, grew into something unspoken but steady, a bond that had been quietly waiting for moments like this. By the time the power flickered back to life, humming appliances and bright lights snapping the house awake, Michael almost wished for the dark to return. The candles guttered out and Jake blinked against the brightness, already retreating into his usual teenage coolness. "Guess it's over," he said, standing and brushing his hands against his jeans. "Yeah," Michael replied. He hesitated, then added, "You did good tonight. Didn't let the storm get the best of you." Jake shrugged, but his mouth twitched into the faintest smile. "Maybe." And then he was gone, padding upstairs, leaving Michael in the bright kitchen with the lingering warmth of candlelight still in his chest. The storm had passed, but the memory of the darkness and the closeness it had brought remained.